Hola there, my beautiful friends, and welcome to another What I Eat in a Week video. But in this one, you guys gave me amazing suggestions to make throughout this week. So without further ado, let's get into your recipes.
That's the vibe.
Well, good morning and welcome to my hot chocolate era. Nobody suggested hot chocolate, but here I am making myself one because the biggest fan of all, me, wanted it. I put some lion's mane mushroom powder and some ashwagandha in that one, and after maybe 20 minutes of sipping on that, I decided to make myself a coffee with my new espresso machine. I've been addicted to this thing. I added some homemade cashew milk to my coffee and then had some pancakes that Scott made. If you watched my last video and you're a little bit confused right now, don't worry, I'll catch you up to speed in a hot minute. Because we didn't have any maple syrup in the house, I enjoyed my blueberry pancakes with some strawberry jam.
I feel like we haven't had a cool AG1 transition in a hot minute, so you know, bam. So good. Hello, my beautiful friends. I hope you're having a fantastic freaking day. Welcome back to another video. Super grateful that you're here, as per always. I am just feeling all cheery and stuff. I feel like I'm being annoying. Sometimes when I get like this, I'm like, I'm being annoying. And if I edit myself well, I'm not in this mood. I'm like, girl, shut up. I'm sorry if you're not feeling it, but I'm here to bring the energy today, and we're here to bring the energy doing a grocery shop. So, Scott is a loyal, dedicated follower, and so when he said to eat pancakes this morning, of course I had to listen to him, but now you guys are fully and completely in control of my life around food anyways for the next week. I'm eating all of the, not all of them because there was a lot of suggestions, but I'm eating many of your suggestions. We're trying new things, we're experimenting with different cultures and cuisines, but we gotta go grocery shopping, so let's hit it. Whoops, need grocery bags. We are back from the grocery store. And I got so much freaking stuff. I have one more bag in the car, but it's just full of canned beans. A couple other things, but crap ton of bananas. We got different types of mushrooms, peppers, peaches, tomato, a ginger that I'm going to plant because she is ready to go into the dirt. Limes, lemons, jalapenos, cilantro. Big tip, if you are in the grocery store and you have bunched spinach like this, it's a little bit of extra work, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper than buying it in the plastic containers, and you're not buying a plastic container. Got some wraps, yogurt, different types of potatoes, onion, apple, corn, and all the beans and potato sauce, tomato sauce. And also, I used to hate these as a kid, but darn, these fruit to go things are freaking good. I don't know why I had such a negative opinion about them for no good reason at all. Okay, let's put everything away and make a Mediterranean lentil salad, because that sounds freaking delicious right now.
Before I got into making lunch, I had to have a little snack, so I had this leftover corn salad. It was spicy and sweet from the corn, absolutely delicious. I don't think this recipe is anywhere, and I don't think it's gonna be anywhere, but maybe I'll make it in another What I Eat in a Week video for you guys. For this Mediterranean salad, we got a lot of fresh veggies chopped up, and we're going to cook up some lentils, seasoning them with some salt. They took about 25 minutes or so to fully cook, and then I threw them into a bowl along with some lemon juice, olive oil, fresh garlic, black pepper, and then all of the veg along with some jarred roasted red peppers. Oh my goodness, I love roasted red peppers so much. There's just something about them. They're so flavorful and delicious. There's also a lot of fresh basil in this salad, so we got all of the fresh veggies along with the herbiness, the lemon juice, the pepper, the salt. It was just so refreshing. And again, welcome to my hot chocolate era. I'm trying to change things up. I added cinnamon to this one because, you know, change is good, apparently. And now let's make some much needed dinner. I'm chopping up a big onion, throwing that into my cast iron pan along with a sweet potato, just cubing everything up so it cooks evenly and kind of faster. Adding some olive oil to that and then chopping up some cauliflower. The cauliflower was a little bit of a last minute thought, so that's why this is a little bit out of order here. Added some garlic, salt, pepper, chili flakes, and then threw that into the oven. The end goal here is to make some nachos. And what we just threw in the oven is going to be blended to make a delicious sauce that doesn't use any nuts. Because screw nuts, right? Because dinner was going to take a hot minute to make, I needed a little bit of a snack, so threw some bread into the toaster, added some coconut yogurt and some blueberry jam on top. So delicious. And because I have so much time here, I'm making sprouts. I made my own frickin' sprouts for the first time, and it was so cool to watch and take care of, and it's so much cheaper to make your own sprouts than to buy them, obviously. YouTube, how to make sprouts. Anyways, we're building some nachos. We got all of the fresh veg along with black beans, cilantro, chucking that into the oven, and then making our sauce with our roasted veggies, nutritional yeast, some cayenne, adding a splash of water, apple cider vinegar, and a touch of chipotle as well. Adding a little bit more water as needed to make sure it comes out a smooth and creamy consistency. Although it will not be as creamy as if you were to add cashews or almonds to this, it was still absolutely delicious and full of flavor. I dolloped it all over my chips and thoroughly enjoyed this fun meal. Nachos for dinner is a frickin' vibe, and I highly encourage you to go out there, make yourself some nachos, and call it dinner. Not an appetizer, dinner. Yeah. That's cool. I love a non-traditional breakfast moment, so I'm chopping up a bunch of cauliflower along with some tofu for some protein, chucking some olive oil into the pan, and then throwing that all in there as well, seasoning it with a touch of salt. And I'm FaceTiming Veronica to talk about the fact that Scott and me just broke up this morning. So that's why Scott was at the beginning of this video and won't be in it for the rest of it. While that was going on the stove, it's complete sidestep here to just talk about the meal again. While that was on the stove, I added some Frank's Red Hot Sauce. I'm topping that with some avocado, cilantro, and freshly chopped tomato. This was a buffalo style, absolutely delicious wrap. I also gave it a good squeeze of lime juice as well. And as I've said a million times, I will never learn my lesson. I always overpack wraps, and it's impossible to close them. They leak everywhere, they fall apart, and it's just one of my flaws. Maybe it's why Scott broke up with me. I don't know. Am I salty? Maybe a little bit. It's okay. I love Scott, but salty with Scott. Love Scott, salty with Scott. It's okay. Sometimes that's just how it is. Anyways, dinner. Hello. Welcome. I'm chopping up some onions, some garlic, and some portobello mushrooms, seasoning that with some salt into the frying pan with some olive oil. And then I also decided to chop up some Oyster King mushrooms. Once the mushrooms started to let go of their liquid, start to brown, and the onions started to brown, I threw some coconut milk in there along with some apple cider vinegar, some chilies, bay leaves, and then crumbled in some tofu as well, adding a lot of black pepper, some coriander seeds, and I actually added sugar to this as well, which I completely forgot to record. I added 3 tablespoons of sugar. I read the recipe wrong. I read the recipe wrong that I was following, but honestly, I can't complain about that. This was really delicious, and I would 100% make it again with 3 tablespoons of sugar. I obviously served it up with some rice and some cilantro. I let my roommate try some as well, and she absolutely adored this recipe too. So thank you. One thing when you're going through a breakup is to take care of yourself. Remind yourself who you are. Remind yourself that everything is going to be okay. Remind yourself that you have value, you are loved, you are appreciated, you are deserving. And I swear to you, slowly but surely, you will feel better. Things will get better. And maybe, just maybe, you may find love again. You will. You will. Trust me. Maybe just not immediately, because you need to take some time for yourself. Let's be smart here. Let's get over people. Let's move on in a timely, productive manner. Anyways, I'm making apple pancakes, Polish apple pancakes. So I let some yeast start doing its thing and then mix some flour into it along with some shredded apple and some coconut yogurt as well, adding some coconut oil to my hot cast iron pan and then throwing my pancake mixture in there. Thing with a cast iron pan, if you want to flip pancakes, get a metal spatula. Metal spatulas are what a cast iron pan needs when it comes to pancakes. I will also link the recipe that I followed down below. I ate one of these as soon as it came off the pan, so I had 4 in total, and I topped them off with some powdered sugar and some blueberry jam. Again, I didn't have any maple syrup in the house. Definitely could have put the pan on lower heat and cooked them a little bit longer, but hey, we all live and learn.
I don't think they're cooked all the way through, but so good.
And because those pancakes were extremely filling, I just need something to hold me over here, so I'm adding a couple bananas to my blender along with maca powder, chocolate protein powder, a little bit more cocoa powder, ashwagandha, ice, and blending that all on up. I'm also allowing myself to be a little bit sad today. Taking things slow and easy and just giving myself the appreciation and grace that I need.
I also made myself a hot chocolate. Hot chocolate and ice cream, these are moments that need to be in life. Thank you. Gorgeous.
Yum. I haven't eaten dinner yet.
I haven't eaten dinner yet either.
And part of the process is allowing yourself to eat ice cream with your friend, drinking hot chocolate, and just warm nachos up in the microwave, even though that's gross and it just gotta happen sometimes.
I've been listening to bossa nova music all morning. That's the vibe.
And let's ride the wave of feeling good. Let's drink our AG1, have a coconut yogurt banana bowl. Let's make ourselves a hot chocolate as per friggin' always and just enjoy the grooviness of bossa nova music. One tip that I have for you guys if you're feeling sad is listen to happy music. Listen to music of how you want to feel. Don't torture yourself with breakup songs and love songs and all of the horribleness that is. Give yourself positive energy, right down to the music that you listen to. Right after that, I put my running clothes on to motivate myself to get out there and release some energy and have a cathartic run, because sometimes that's what you gotta do when you're going through a breakup, is just move cathartically. But before that, I decided to procrastinate for a while to make a whole pot of chili. Sauteing some onions and mushrooms, and once they started to brown, I added some sweet potatoes and some russet potatoes, and I'm rinsing a can of black beans and a can of red kidney beans, adding a bunch of different spices, which I will put on screen here, along with a decent amount of salt, a can of crushed tomato sauce. This is just plain tomatoes, along with a decent amount of veggie stock, our beans, peppers, jalapenos, some leftover spinach that I just needed to use up, along with some cilantro as well. And then I put the lid on there and let it do its thing for over an hour on extremely low heat, as low as you can go. Low, low, low.
Let's go climb a mountain.
I also forgot to tell you guys, I was soaking some corn while I was out on my run, and when I got home, I turned the oven on, threw my corn into the oven and let it do its thing for about 20 minutes while I had a shower and relaxed for a hot second. I then took the kernels off the corn and added that to the chili, because corn just gotta have chili, you know? Wait, what? Other way around. I let the corn marinate for about 10 minutes and then served myself a big old bowl of it. It definitely needed a little bit more salt, and something that I've been doing for quite a while now is adding mustard to chili. I don't know why, but it just levels it up. So after my first big bowl, about 4 hours later, this is my lunch and my dinner, I decided to add a touch more salt and add a little bit of Dijon mustard. It just wakes it all up and is so freaking delicious. I highly recommend adding like a couple tablespoons into a big pot of chili. I then had some chocolate, ate a bunch of popcorn with my friends, and we watched stupid love shows, because that's what you gotta do when you're going through a breakup. Highly recommend. And the next morning, I made myself a delicious hot chocolate. Nothing new here, just much hot chocolate era. You know me. And now I'm making some muffins. I mashed a few bananas, adding some coconut oil to the mixture, adding some vanilla, mixing that up along with some sugar, and then adding our flour to it, sifting it through a fine mesh strainer just to kind of get all the lumps out, some cinnamon, baking soda, baking powder. I had some flaxseed laying around, so I threw some ground up flaxseed in there too, and then just evenly spread that out through a muffin tin, chucked it into the oven for, I don't know, 18 minutes or so, and then made myself a smoothie in the meantime with some banana, blueberries, spinach, protein powder, coconut yogurt, water, blending that on up, and enjoying my blueberry banana smoothie along with my muffins. The only problem with having baked goods in the house is they make you not want to listen to your hunger cues. I had my smoothie, I had a muffin, and I immediately wanted another muffin, even though I was full, I was satisfied. But because they're so freaking good, my taste buds just, they called to me. I couldn't be freaking happier. You just gotta listen to those taste buds. Okay, follow along here as this may get a little bit confusing because I am prepping dinner while also making lunch. So first things first is I'm chopping up some onion and some king oyster mushrooms for dinner. So throwing that into the frying pan along with some olive oil and letting that do its thing for a hot minute on low-ish heat with some salt and some pepper. And now let's make a fresh bowl of deliciousness. I am adding some spinach, chopping that up along with some tomato and some cucumber. Then deseeding half of it orange pepper. I'm only going to use about a quarter of this pepper in my salad bowl, but how I deseed it is cut the pepper in half and then cut the top bit off and then just kind of tap the seeds out. And because roasted red peppers are sent from the freaking heavens, I chopped a bunch of those up as well to go in this bowl along with just some plain chickpeas, throwing my sprouts on there. They only take a few days to freaking grow, along with some sauerkraut, and then seasoning it with a decent amount of salt, pepper, balsamic, and olive oil. Just keeping this one super simple. I just really didn't want to think that much, but I needed some freshness. So all the freshness in a bowl, along with my favorite ingredient, balsamic vinegar. After the onions and the mushrooms were on low heat for quite a while and they started to brown up, I added some tomato along with lentils, quinoa, coconut milk, and we're going to chop up a decent amount of basil as well. These are going to be like creamy stuffed peppers at the end of this. So chopping up some spinach, throwing all of that in there along with some chili flakes and basil, oregano, pepper, just getting all the seasonings in there, mixing that up, covering it with a lid. And I did add a few splashes of water to this as well, just to kind of help the lentils and the quinoa to cook a bit faster. And then let it do its thing on low heat for quite some time. And now we're stuffing our peppers. I just chopped 2 peppers in half and then threw the mixture as much as I possibly could into the peppers and then chucked them into the oven for about 35 minutes or so. They don't look all too appealing, but trust me, they were full of flavor. They were creamy, they were herby, they were well seasoned, and mwah. Good morning. Muffins. Muffins are the best. And AG1. AG1 is the best as well. I've been loving chopping up apples recently. I don't know why. I was sitting there eating an apple like a couple weeks ago, and I was just appreciating this apple so much that it made me fall in love with apples again. But anyways, I decided not to film the rest of the day because I really needed to take it for myself and just focus on me and my feelings. So I did that. And the following day, I needed to make this pad thai recipe that somebody suggested, so let's get into it. Starting off by chopping up some onion and cubing up some tofu, and we're going to get that tofu into the pan, a hot pan with olive oil and a decent amount of salt. Get that all browned and awesome, throwing some carrot in there along with our onion and some sad looking bits of basil that I needed to use up. And now let's get into this pad thai sauce, which is a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, yes, and a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, yes, a decent amount of sriracha and half of a lime's juice. Super simple, sweet, acidic, umami, a little bit spicy, you got everything. And now I'm cooking up some rice noodles, throwing some bok choy in this. You could trade the bok choy out for some broccoli or even some chopped up cabbage if you'd like. And the rice noodles, I'm gonna get into this with you. After I strained them, I gave them a really good rinse with cool water and then drizzled them with some toasted sesame oil and just kind of like allowed the sesame oil to coat all of them so that way they didn't stick together. I threw some green onions, cilantro, my noodles, sauce, and some bean sprouts in here too, mixing that all on up and then adding some chopped cashews. You can do peanuts if you'd like. I just had cashews around, so decided to use those. Piled everything up in my bowl, and this was so freaking delicious. Well, I mean, you're adding a quarter cup of maple syrup to something. How could it not be delicious? But highly recommend this recipe. Make it for guests when they're coming over because they will be impressed. I swear to you. So I took the rest of that day to myself as well, and then the next day decided to make cassava cake. I had no idea what the frick I was doing here. I'd never worked with cassava root before, and let me say, it was a freaking challenge. The person that I watched online peel this thing did it like so effortlessly, and it was not effortless. Once I grated it, I then threw it into a cheesecloth in a bowl and then squeezed the extra juice out. I squeezed too much juice, I believe, out of the cassava because at the end of this, the texture wasn't the way it was supposed to be. But hey, we live and we learn. I'm adding some sugar to my cassava along with sweetened condensed coconut milk, and some coconut yogurt as well, and then mix that on up, let that sit for a hot minute along with some vanilla. I just felt the need to add vanilla to this for some reason. I don't know why. In a pan, I added some sugar to the bottom layer along with a little bit of coconut oil. I'm not sure why I did that. I just did. I then traded pans and then threw the cassava mixture into the pan, getting it all flat and evened out smooth on the top. I then chopped off the extra little bit of parchment paper that I didn't want to burn in the oven and then chucked the mixture into the oven at 325 along with a tin of water as well because a couple recipes steamed it, a couple recipes cooked it in the oven, and I was very confused of what the right answer was, so I kind of did both. Long story short, this was supposed to be not as thick. It was supposed to be a little bit more like gelatinous. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and got some value out of it in some way or another. If you try any of these recipes, let me know down in the comments. I appreciate you and love you so very much, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your damn day. I love you all, and I'll see you again so very soon. Mwah!